Hey, peace, family. It's Dr. Jeff Menzie, your 60-second life coach. So in today's session, we're going to deal with what a notion called male temperament. And the question specifically is there a such thing as a healthy male temperament? And how do we address the need for anger management in males? Let's start off with a brief discussion on temperament. So basically, there are 4 temperaments that are used in psychology, going back to ancient spiritual traditions. For the sake of this conversation, I'll keep the term simple. You've got air, you got an airy temperament, you got a fiery temperament, you got a watery temperament, and you got an earthy temperament. Real quick, fiery is typically anything that's kind of impulsive, high energy, kind of like a daredevil type of energy, courageous, fearful, timid, any of those things. Airy is kind of aloof, what you might call like spacey. Watery, malleable. Watery is impressionable. Some people say gullible, even emotional. And then there's earthy. Some people say it's stubborn. Some will say rock solid, stable, dependable, those types of things. And again, all of this is in a nutshell. I do a really good explanation of these 4 temperaments in my book, Symbolically Speaking, African Lodge #1. It's dealing with the African spiritual tradition aspect of the book. So anyway, the healthy male temperament. Stereotypically, we like to think that the healthy male temperament is one that's fiery, but we like the balanced fiery male temperament. So in other words, if you get a dude who's emotional, who's exhibiting the watery aspect of the temperament more so than the fiery, then we tend to say, it seems to be a deficit in that individual. Some people call them weak, oversensitive, emotional, or what is it nowadays, in their feelings, right? And God forbid that they thirsty, right? Watery, thirsty, get it? Got it. All right, and then you got the rock solid dudes that are earthy, that may be stubborn and set in their ways, unmovable, unshakable, unyielding, uncompromising. And that has its own pluses and minuses. And then you have the airy ones that can't seem to quite get anything done. They stay in their head all the time. They're always thinking. They talk a good game. I guess it would be like the stereotypical weed head. The dude is just smoked out, whether he smoked out for real or not, but just kind of just spacey. All these concepts, all these ideas, but can never get to the concrete, to the earth, and actually get anything done. But that fiery piece is what's stereotypically promoted as a healthy male temperament, meaning that the dude always has to be high energy, always has to be fiery. It's what they call the alpha male. And it's okay. Nothing wrong with the alpha male energy, but there's alpha male in each of the 4 temperaments. And so in a nutshell, my answer is the healthy male temperament is that temperament that is balanced within the element that is their natural disposition. Now, if the person is an initiate or somebody who is going through some very specific training, rites of passage, some type of initiation process, any form of self-refinement, then that means that they are working towards a balance between all 4 of the elements, meaning that the person will be dead smack in the middle of air, fire, earth, and water, and they are able to manifest air, earth, fire, air, water, depending on the situation, but they can do it at will. So let's say a person has a watery disposition and they're balanced in their water, but they come across a situation that requires fire. In that moment, they're able to switch their temperament to one that's more fire-based. And being more fire-based, they're likely to be more successful in that endeavor, in that situation, than if they had maintained water. Got it? And so the part about anger management is directly tied in to that notion of fire being the healthy male disposition. A lot of people, male and female alike, are walking around angry. Excuse my English, walking around pissed off. Why? Because it's a lot of stuff that happens to them as they're growing up, happens to us as we're growing up. We don't have the answers for it, and we've buried it. We've buried it deep. In other words, we've repressed it. All right. And sometimes we're suppressing it. And in that process, the fire continues to grow and it continues to bubble. The anger, the frustration continues to be there, and it lingers and it influences everything that's going on. One of my wise elders in Nashville, we used to sit around the fire all the time. And he would always say, the fire is no more safe hidden beneath the ashes. If you step on that pile of ash, you're going to burn your foot, whether that fire was in the flame form or hidden beneath the ash. And so what we're doing is we're hiding this anger, this frustration, this fire beneath the ashes. And so we need to clear that out. We need to go in and unpack these bags. I advise you to do it with a well-trained professional, because you don't want to go peeling off scars and people walking around with open sores, and then they're going to affect you and everybody else. It's just going to make it worse. But we have bags that we need to unpack. So that anger management piece is typically about not managing anger, but understanding what the anger is, taking that energy, because emotion, E is for energy, emotion is movement. So it's the energy that moves the person. So their emotion, right, is just that of anger, but it's simply energy that's being caught up in the thought processes or the recollection, the memory of whatever it is that created the frustration and anger in the first place. But once you go back and free that up, especially if it happened when you were a child, you go back with your adult mind, with your better understanding, and you explain it to the child you that, hey, you're not the reason why your father didn't show up. It's not because of you. You're not the reason why your parents broke up. It's not because of you. It's not your fault that you had to move and change schools. It's not your fault that your friend moved away. You see, as children, we're very egocentric, meaning that we believe the world revolves around us. And thus, everything that happens to us or those that we care about in our life circumstances and situations, we take ownership of it, typically, not all the time. And that being the case, we grow up with a lot of frustration, guilt, shame, right? Anger, and these things just continue to fester. And as adults, something comes along and triggers it. It reminds us of it, reminds us of that person, reminds us of that situation, and we automatically, subtly go back into mode. It's also the reason why a lot of marriages fail, but we'll talk about that on another session. All right. Yo, this is Dr. Jeff Menzie, your 60-second life coach. Again, these are just nutshell conversations. Anything in this conversation strikes you as interesting, comment. All right. Send me a message. I'd rather you comment publicly, though, so that we can continue the dialogue in public. Other people might have the same question, or they might vibe off of the answer that I give you. All right. So let's keep this public. Thanks for checking this out. Your 60-second life coach. Take care, y'all. See y'all next time.